Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci Podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
I've got to finish it now. We will get to yeah, he was a kid and he actually licked the thing as a joke to see if his tongue would get stuck, and his tongue got stuck. I had to call the ambulance. Couldn't pull it off.
Was it freezing outside?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was that. Think of that when you're a kid. You think, I wonder if that thing's real, where you stick your tongue to something and you can't get it off. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I grew up in Canada, so trust me, I know what that's like. I did not stick my tongue out on a pole, but I know people who have.
Yeah. Stacey Jackson.
Hi.
Hi. So you're from Canada, are you?
I was born there.
I thought you were born in England.
No. Really?
Yeah, it says that online.
It's Montreal, right?
Yeah, from Montreal.
No,
where does it say?
Because I triple checked it. Because it said, yeah, you're born in England. I thought, no. I thought,
wrong
you might...
Stacey Jackson.
Yeah.
It must be...
No, it's you. It's you. Sing out entrepreneur,
Really?
mother of four. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about mother of four. So where were your kids from living now?
They're all over the place. I have one who's in Stockholm, one's in New York, one's in Philadelphia, and then I have one that lives with me.
What do they do? What are they?
They're similar. My two oldest ones are both in like investment, like they do VC, venture capital.
Yeah, okay.
One's in the sort of tech space, the other one's more in the sports space.
Oh.
And my third is in uni in Philadelphia.
What was the sports one? What sort of?
They do like gaming and betting and just everything in the sports world.
So none
Agents
of them followed you into the business.
No. Although that kid that is in the US, he plays mean drums, but that's
really?
about it. No, he doesn't. That's it.
Start a band.
Yeah.
Right. So we might as well start at the top. 2 words. Snoop Dogg. What's the story? So the book.
That's kind of like the middle, not really the top.
Your book.
The book. Okay, so that's the end. So
Right.
we can start at the end and work backwards.
Is the book coming out?
The book is coming out.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
the book is coming out. It's a soft launch in
Called?
time for my birthday, actually. So it's called How a Gangsta Rapper Made Me a Better Mom.
And I'm assuming that, unless you hang around with gangster rappers, I'm assuming that's Snoop Dogg.
That is Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
I mean, it's a fictionalized book.
Yeah.
So, I had sort of the creative license to be able to be, when I'm writing, you could sort of expand on the characters and give them a little bit more humility and more life and more, so it was a lot of fun. And also I'm a creative. So it gave me like the opportunity to like develop the characters. And, it's about a woman who is juggling life. Actually, she's a single mom in the book, so that's why it is fictionalized. And she juggles her kids and her family, but her dream was to become, a musician and like break through the music industry. So she's juggling both, and of course, it's a really tough industry to be in. Full stop. Whether you're fictionalizing it or it's a real deal, and how she sort of maneuvers, trying to live her own dream while trying to keep her husband's legacy alive and run the family. And it's a
When did you first think about it?
Oh, years ago, right before COVID, actually.
Oh,
It was
no,
it was funny because I have friends in the television industry, as you know. And everyone was like, oh, Stacey, you should write a book. You should write a book. I've been approached by every reality show known to man. I mean, Celebrity, Big Brother, Real Housewives. 3 times they flew me out to LA. The whole thing, met with Bravo. And my kids and my husband were like, NFW.
Yeah.
Like there's a hard red line on having cameras around and da-da-da. But everyone's like, but you've got such a great story and you have to tell your story. So we agreed that, and also someone said to me, okay, tell you what, if you write the book, and this is a guy and a big producer, TV producer, said, if you write the book, we'll option it. We'll option the story for it to become a television series.
So when you started at 40.
I started my career. I didn't start writing the book at 40, but I started my career.
Started your career at 40.
Yeah.
So you had the kids first.
Yeah.
You got married, went to college. So what kind of gave you that inspiration to be like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I love now at 40. And how did...
It's such a good question because, it wasn't like I just decided, I'm going to learn how to sing. I mean, I was in bands since I was 15. I was writing songs since I was like 12 or 13. So like I always had that dream. And then, life gets in the way. I met the love of my life while I was in college. So I was young. And then, we had a family and I was always in bands, but it just wasn't the right time. Excuse me.
Well, it's sort of like with you at the moment with everything. Like, what made you wait till now to start get everything going with the audio?
In my 30s, well, I'm early 30s, and you know, I'm still now. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? You know, I messed around in my 20s, didn't really know bumping into walls, and that's why I'm asking, because it's just such an inspiration for people later on in life.
That it's not over when you have a family. And you know, it was funny because it was really my husband and we made this decision as a family. Like, I was raising kids, and he, you know, was building his career, and I stayed home with the kids. Like, that was it. And then I kept having more and more kids. I have 4 kids. So it was like I needed to be present. And so I put my dreams on hold, you know, deliberately. And it was funny because I never thought that I wasn't going to go back to singing again or working. I always knew that I was going to be doing something after the kids got a little bit more independent and older. But it was funny because, like, recording was really a dream for me. I always performed. Performing and recording are 2 totally different creative aspects. Like, getting up on stage and, like, you know, putting on a show, that's one thing. But the creative sort of path when you're in a studio and putting a song together from nothing, it doesn't exist at all of a sudden there's a few chords, and then there's a top line melody, then you write lyrics. It's like you're literally writing a song for me, and being in the studio is the most exciting. I mean,
for somebody that knows nothing, right, we're going to write a song. What's the first thing that happens? Does the song come to you and then you say, I'm going to do a song about that?
Yeah, it could be anything.
Go in and say, let's come in and let's do music.
It could be anything. Like, it could be just a few chords on a piano and, you know, me just coming up with a melody over it. It could be me walking and hearing the click of my heels, and suddenly I have a beat and I can just, like, make up a tune. There could be a message somewhere, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write a song about blah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's never always, you know, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh my God, I have to write this down. And so it just comes to me. And it's.
Have you seen the film Tar? With who's in Tar? Kate with a C. Kate Blanchett. Is that her name? Yeah. Where she plays a composer. It's just come out recently.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
I was just talking to you about the conductor. That I know. Well, I sat down with the conductor and said, right, tell me everything. You know, how to do. Is it conductor? No,
composer.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. He said, that's composer. And I said, right, tell me everything. And he hadn't seen the film Tar. And I said, it's about composers with Kate Black. How could you have not seen it? Anyway, you're talking about noises. In that, she's very noises annoy her, and people don't understand, and everything about her life is hearing things and whatever. But there's a bit in it, and the person that trained her says, I think it was Chopin. He said he judged somebody on how much little noises annoy him. Like, people that hear everything, you think, oh, they're quite pedantic. You go, no, that's an intelligence. You know, everything's got a meaning.
They're very sensitive to their auditory sensitivity. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's true for me. I think it's more inside. Yeah. I've got, like, stuff that has to come out. Like, I'm like, I just love creating. I just love
it's really creativity. It's like, it's not stories aren't in you. Creativity's in you, and then it could come out as a book or a song or a letter or an article. It's a thing that's. It's like its own message, but you don't know what the message is till you figure out how it's going to come out. And
how do you execute it? So, I mean, a while ago, I launched a brand of fitness clothes. I don't know if you saw that.
About that.
Yeah, Stay
Fit. And, it was a concept that
it's not S-T-A-Y.
It's S-T-A-E, for me. So and it was just a concept. And how do I make this? I don't know how to make it. I'm not in the apparel business. I had no idea. I had to go to, like, Germany and go to fabric fairs in China and go to like I needed to learn about what would do what I had in my head that it needed to do. I knew exactly what the problem was. I knew exactly how to solve the problem, but I didn't know how to build it. So I had to learn. And I was, like, in my 40s, and and I sold it on the Ideal Shopping channel, and, I could have really built it, but my passion was the music. And I was just a sort of like, let's see if this can go anywhere, and it got a lot of love. But I mean, right now that side of me is kind of on the back burner because I don't know if it's my ADHD, but I'm always doing something. Now I have to focus on the book, so I have to go and write the book. So there's only one of me, and I can only create one thing at a time.
Well, how did you have a process for the book? Did you say, right, every morning, 1 hour, every this, that?
Yeah.
How did you?
So the book, like I actually...
Were you given a deadline?
Yes and no. So I had a literary agent, and then it was right during COVID when the book went out to the publishers, and I got a lot of feedback coming back saying, people are reading differently now. Like, let's give her a little bit more challenges. Okay, so before COVID, I mean, she had challenges, but now after COVID, we killed off the husband in the book. And we decided, okay, let's make her sing.
She murdered him.
No, that's not how it happened. Absolutely. But I mean, this is with the love of her life, right? Yeah. So she's gone through major tragedy right from the first page. And then so we really spent the time to develop the characters even more. And it was such a process for me to learn because I never wrote a book before in my life. So getting this feedback from my literary agent saying, okay, this is what needs to change. So I spent a lot of time trying to develop the character, and it was both fun, but also like it was hard. I never wrote a book. So my girlfriend, who she used to be at the Times and then at the Daily Mail, so she's with journalists. She's been following my career since the day I turned 40, and I was like, I had my first hit record. Wow. And so she like followed this crazy journey. We became really, really good friends. I mean, I adore her. She's subsequently moved out of London. But so she was co-writing the book with me. And so it was so nice to have her as part of this journey because I don't know anything about writing.
Like being ADHD as well. Like you need someone that's accountable. You need someone for accountability. Totally. Because otherwise you're up at like 3 o'clock in the morning going, I'm going to write 5 chapters right now.
She would wake up. That's exactly what would happen. She'd be getting WhatsApp messages at like 6 in the morning going, why is she up now asking me about like silly things in the book? I'm like, we don't have continuity between chapter 3 and chapter 8. What happened with this scene? Why did we not pick that up? Like
you need someone to like make it make sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've got the same brain where I'm all over the place and I've got like a creative thing here. Sometimes you just need someone to go, okay, right, give me all your creative stuff. Let's make it make sense.
Yeah. Somebody said to me once, just one sentence, and it was only just a brief conversation. He said, he said, you need some scaffolding. He said, you're like an engine. And without scaffolding, he said, you're going to shake yourself to pieces trying to do too many. In fact, what did your husband do?
He's an investor.
It's the opposite. Right.
No, he's an investor. He like invests in companies that
I knew it.
He's very focused.
We had just had this conversation the other day. I said, when you're too creative, you have to have somebody that's the absolute opposite for you. God. So you can have somebody that pays the bills.
My partner, I always joke that he's a robot, that he literally just plugs in, does his job, plugs out. He loves the simple life. He's very much, he would happily just sit and watch something with me and our cat.
And you never find a real creative that's with another creative because it would be paying the bills.
Pandemonium, I can imagine.
It would be a mess because he keeps me like, I'm like, I got this. And he's like, shh, calm down.
Well, my husband's been amazing because in the last year or so, since COVID, he started on this like self journey. And like, what's really nice is since I have ADHD, he's actually learning about how to deal with me too. Mm-hmm. So like, because I am all over the place. And typical stories, like if I'm telling him a story, like, I went to the shop to buy tea. I wouldn't just tell him I went to the shop to buy tea. Actually, I never buy tea. I don't drink tea. But like I went to the shop to buy whatever. It's never that one sentence. It's, so I went to the shop and I guess who I ran into, and you know what she was wearing, and so I got distracted, and you're like all 25 different and he's like, why didn't you just tell me that you just went to the shop? Yeah. That's all I needed to know.
There was a comedian, and I don't know if this is sexist, I don't think it is, but it was years ago, and he was saying about he realised that like when his wife would come home, and it's half genius. He said she would say like, "Oh, there's a problem," whatever the problem was, and he said, "Why don't you do this, that, and the other?" And she said, "But then we'd have an argument." And he said he realised that women, if you can say that, like women, he said, "I realised I want to fix things. She just wanted me to listen to the problem." Whereas the man will be, well, why don't you do this? Well, just tell her that and then move on. Well, just tell her to shut up.
Right.
Go, no, I did. So then he realised, oh no, just listen to her.
Just rant.
And just go,
tell you that I hate her right
And it was genius. He said, because men want to fix things and move on. Whether it's, no, I just want to communicate the problem. Don't tell me to do that and fix that. And I thought, genius, absolute genius.
No.
You're looking quite trendy there.
Oh, yeah.
And an easy trendy, not like a... in fact, I should thank you for climbing those stairs in your shoes.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Do you remember the...
Yeah, oh God.
There was this, this is another, this is funny. I meant to look this up a while ago. I've just remembered it again. Somebody spoke to a musician. They said like a dancer, who's the best dancer ever? And people usually say Frank Sinatra or Michael Jackson. And he said, it wasn't man. He said, Grace Kelly, because she did everything Frank Sinatra did,
but in heels.
Backwards and in heels. And I thought, backwards and in heels. It's not a little thing.
If you can dance in a club for 4 or 5 hours in heels, you can do anything.
Yeah. Until you're like in your mid-50s and you're like, your butt hurts and your ankles hurt and you know
they're wearing the heels. It seems like a torturous thing. Do you get used to that? Or is it you're putting it on knowing you're doing it?
Well, at the end of the night, it's not the best feeling in the world is taking your heels off and putting your foot down.
But when you're in them, is that...
Okay, but not for me, because I think I've been wearing heels longer than you're even alive. And so my slippers actually have a heel. I don't like being flat. I can't. Like the feeling of my feet touching the floor, like flat, it's super strange for me. Like even my heels have to be like, my slippers have to be.
I worked in a bar once and there was a girl, she was only about 18, quite something that just liked dressed up. Though she must have gone into fashion. And I noticed I'm not kidding you. I swear to God, I was behind the bar and I was walking and I noticed she wasn't allowed to wear the heels. She was standing on her tiptoes because she was so used to it. She said, I only wear heels. I couldn't believe, I thought it was a joke. I just noticed. And I said, what are you doing? She said, oh no, I like standing like this.
Calves.
Yeah, she was quite, And I can't say anymore. But anyway, so she was a nice girl.
Obviously, you're into fitness.
Yeah.
And you got your fitness video.
Right.
I actually tried that the other day.
You did?
I did.
Okay, they're just little tidbits, right?
I did the volume too.
Okay.
I tried it so hard. But I loved it that you brought your daughter into it as well.
Yeah.
Did she really enjoy that? Does she normally do stuff with you?
You know what? I'm hoping that my influence goes in there somewhere, because she is fit and she likes to do kickboxing, but she's 16, so she doesn't want to hang out with her mom and do stuff yet. But I think there'll be a day, she wants to sign up for Pilates. So it's starting to...
It's so important to get things into kids before they know they're doing stuff.
That we did it.
It's a struggle.
Right. You have to do it very, not in your face, so that it goes in there and they don't know that you were the one that put it in there.
Yeah.
Plant the seed.
They have to do it on their own sort of...
That's what I do with my partner. Plant the seed.
I was just saying, I was speaking to the composer.
Mm-hmm.
What is the conductor?
The conductor is like an orchestral conductor, somebody who more like a musical director would be a conductor.
The guy that...
Yes, so he's basically conducting all the instruments.
Okay, so he's a conductor.
Composer is somebody who actually composes or
he's
writes
a conductor. Anyway, I was speaking to him. Do you know the Montessori schools that they have a lot of in America?
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody over here. Now, from what I found out, they're quite sort of franchisey. Like you can run them how you want, as long as a certain thing to do with Maria Montessori, who I love, and it annoys me people don't really know who she is. But I was speaking to the lady over here, and what they were doing over here. So their whole thing is like education the way it used to be. They use the what's the Latin for education? Is it educatis, which means to bring from within. You bring that person out. We're the opposite. Sit down, and I'm going to tell you. It's literally the opposite of what the word meant. And she said, they do, because we were talking about schools in South Africa where he's from, and he said, I was explaining to him that they would do things that are so like you go, of course, where they have kids start school, but not till like 10 o'clock, because what they want to do is they want the kid itching to get out the house, so that when they're allowed to go to school, they see it as a pleasure. And then you think, what do we do? Wake up, get dressed, drag you. So the whole thing, the way you look at it, is like a punishment, really. She said, no, we want the kids to want to get out the bloody door, and then they say, what we do is we just watch them. That's it. The onus for their education is just watching them, and they see.
I totally agree with that.
That guy, that kid, he just stacks bricks. That girl's doing everybody's hair. This girl's running around helping people. And they go, oh, that's it. They're telling you who they are. And then they just nudge them within those areas to see where they are. I thought, That's what a school is. That's what a school. And then you think back to what we are. Wake up, shut up.
Yeah,
all of you, all the
Especially
personalities.
teenagers.
I hated getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
I needed more sleep.
Yeah. Teenagers
growing.
do. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It
they
doesn't make
actually
any
do,
sense.
yeah.
And I think you probably used to make sense when the reason why it was like such a structured system was because, people were going to work. So they needed to drop their kids off at a certain time so that they can go to work. And the kids there was a reason obviously for this, but now it doesn't need to be like that. And especially now where a lot of things are online and, my kid's school was canceled the other day because there was a straight train strike, but everything went online.
Yeah.
So
Did they have a better time when it was online when they're at home, or is it more like
one day is fun, but then during COVID that wasn't fun.
But I think we don't know what people need at the moment, and I think human beings have to be around other smells, feels, touches, noise, moving within people. It's like when people say they go to university. You're really going there to learn how to be an adult. It's not about the teaching as much. You need
a social element as well.
Or Stephen Fry, Stephen Fry. Yeah. So, and he said, he was talking about Alfred Bosey and Oscar Wilde, but the point stands where Oscar Wilde was talking to Alfred Bosey, but he was repeating this as you go there to learn manners. So it's called the Oxford Manner. You go there to learn how to be from a teenager to perfect. That's what you actually learn. Because he says to Alfred Bosey, you've got the education, but you didn't learn the manners that are supposed to come with it. You didn't get what you're supposed to get from it. But yeah, so that's school when I talked to that lady. But I thought, when she told me that, then you look back to what we do and you go, oh my God, we just cram a load of kids in a class, different personalities, and say, listen, we're going to teach you all this. And if some of you don't fit in, then I hope come from a good family, because you're going to end up where it just because you don't fit in, and it could be abuse. If we're telling you this and you can't learn that, then we're technically abusing. We're crushing you in here and hoping that if you haven't got a good family, okay, good luck. If the work doesn't work out.
A lot of people don't fit into the system.
No.
Well, it's Victorian. In the future, it's going to be Victorian. We crushed a load of kids into a class and said, "Oh, listen to me."
It was very much like, open a book when I was in school. All right, now copy from what's on the board. And I couldn't concentrate or read for that long. I was creative. I needed to be standing up. I needed to be learning creatively.
I reckon you could have a schooling system in the future where they get to sort of 12 or 13 and the teachers have to write something and say, look, they're going that way. Don't do this to them. 12, 13, by 13, you know that kid is not going to be a scientist. He's never shown any interest in anything, but he's running around playing sports constantly. Give him the basics, half of what they teach the maths kids. Give them the basics and then push the other ones in there. That one likes architecture, building stuff, or creative design, building, whatever. Whatever. I don't know what they call the classes now. He's not going to be a geographer. Why are we spending all this time? But that one loves geography. He reads them in his book. It's just like such basic stuff that you will look back and go, my God, it's mad.
I agree with you. And then the American system is liberal arts, right? So you don't, it's not like here where you have to keep narrowing down your scope. So by the time you're GCSE, you're dropping this, you're dropping that. A levels, you've dropped everything except for 3. So it gets really, really narrow. And then by the time you go to uni, you're studying one thing. Where I think that the liberal arts program is great for the kids to be able to still be exposed to things. And I agree with you, but I also my daughter was almost about to drop math, this was her weakest subject, and we were always so quick to prejudge and go, okay, she's not going to do the science, she's not going to do the math, she's more into the the humanities kind of stuff, and fine, great. All of a sudden, she's taking maths for A level, and she's killing it. I mean, I want to speak too soon, but she's loving it. Yeah. So it also has to do with how it's presented.
Yeah,
so it's the teachers.
Oh, there's a lot of facets.
There's a lot of elements to why a student may or may not like a certain thing, because she was loving philosophy back during GCSE, loving it, loved everything about it, loved all the ethical conversations, and just loved it. By the time it got to A level, wasn't a huge fan of it. And I mean, yes, also the curriculum changes a little bit at A level. It gets a little bit harder and there's more challenges, but also there's so many different reasons why a kid. So keeping the spectrum broad, this way they can be exposed to everything, and then start to narrow it down later in life. So that my kids all went to school in the States, at university in the States, because they didn't have to choose right away what they really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it became narrower, narrower, at uni level. But
So what did you do at school? What was your...
I was the drama, music, theater, English. Those were my focuses. I was not a science and math person.
Yeah.
At all. Like, my daughter is like telling me about quadra, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you are speaking complete Chinese to me. I don't know what you're saying. And
So did she enjoy the fitness?
My daughter?
Yeah.
Does she like
Or does she know what's going on?
No. She loves dance. In fact, she's starting she's doing a charity dance troupe for Ukrainian refugees families who were displaced during the war. And so like all these kids who, let's say, used to like to dance, and so she's putting this together with the Ukrainian church and all by herself, so she's very much into her dance. She did dance to GCSE. So dance is really her form of fitness. She loves it. Now it's kind of expanded into like kickboxing and other things.
Seen like her mum so entrepreneurial, going out there, going to fabric designers and stuff like that. And so she's like, well, I'm going to do something big. I'm going to be entrepreneurial with it, We'll see. We'll see where this goes. If anything, it's just also showing the initiative that she wants to put something together that and I love that sort of like, you're right, maybe she's watching it, but that she could start something from nothing. I guess that is a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit where you can build something from just an idea. We'll see if it takes off. I don't know. Maybe there are only 2 kids that show up.
Did you make a conscious effort to introduce them to things, or they just did as young kids?
No, we did.
We
always stuck them into we put them into like the local dojo to learn judo and karate, and they were so cute, but then they were not into it, but they exposed it to, you want them to try everything.
I knew a guy, I worked in a nightclub, it wasn't a lofty profession, and he said his niece, who was, I don't know, I think she's about 5 or 6, he said, I don't have a lot of money. He said, but when we go to places, I make sure they're expensive places because I want to normalize it for her. He said, I take her to places where she only looks down at the menu, not up at the menu. And I thought, that's genius.
Oh, I hear you.
And he said, because if I do that enough, when you can't control who she likes when they grow old. You can't start complaining about people that she fancies or whatever she's dating. She said, but if I introduce her to a certain level of things now, before she knows any different, then when she goes on a date, and the guy tries to take her to somewhere else, she will naturally
be like, this guy's a cheapskate.
Yeah, I don't
like McDonald's.
You're getting a Big Mac and a Happy Meal.
It was don't take them anywhere where they look up at a menu.
That's very funny. I love that.
It works, have them fine dining, nice, quiet people.
I'm absolutely going to be telling that to my daughter. Do not, exactly. Only look at menus. That's this way, not that way.
Yeah, that's just that side. What's the film, The Bronx Tale? Have you seen it? Robert De Niro on it.
100 years ago.
Yeah. It's a good story. Just didn't do very well. But he has the rule of, he told it, that the cars would, before they had electric things, you had to pull the things up or go around and turn the key. He would, when he goes on a date, he would let the girl in first, and he said, she's only good if she leans across to open your door for you. Because you have to. If you have to go around and put your key in, that means she just sat there. She's probably quite selfish. But if you get in and he does it, he goes on a date and she gets in the car and she does that and locks the door in front of a little thing. But they're sort of...
You can't do that anymore.
No, yeah.
No.
That's old school.
They're sort of gimmicky.
I have to say, it is a bit tricky for boys. I have 3 boys. It is very tricky. I want to teach my kids to be like, a gentleman. I want them to know. I want them to be able to offer to hold the door open or to help an old lady with their bags, or I want my kids to be to be kind and be nice and offer and to help. But nowadays you've got to be careful. You don't know what the rules are. You have to be careful.
You understand the going to fancy places and stuff like that, but I don't know. I quite like going to my local pub. My first date with my boyfriend was going to a local pub. It was in Romford, and it was just
it's not one or the other.
It was just like, it was really, the drinks were cheap, and because we were really young.
I mean, obviously, when you're that young, I mean, you're not splashing the cash.
But I would still like it now because it doesn't have to be showy for me. As long as he can make me laugh, he's got good morals.
Yeah, no, it's not about leading a posh life. It's just introducing them to a way that makes them sort of.
And I agree, because then you also know that it's special when you go to someplace else. Like,
and so I'll tell you something else he said. He said he's not religious, doesn't believe in religion anyway, almost to the point of atheism, but he just doesn't believe nothing. His wife's a little bit religious. He said, I go to church with them every Sunday. It's the Catholic Church, his wife. He said he's not into it. His wife's not really into it, but they've made a conscious decision. We're going to go to church every Sunday. He doesn't believe in it. He said, but when you teach them religion young enough, he said, even if they don't believe in it, it puts in the back of your mind for the rest of your life, there might be somebody watching. You might not believe in it, but even if you don't believe in it.
What, Catholic guilt?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
No, but just, they're not following it. It's not like they're going to Sunday school or anything. He said, but if you just keep talking about God's love, when you're not there, there's 0.5% of them is just still thinking, he might be there watching me.
Yeah, we all grew up with it.
Yeah.
And you know what, even when you're trying not to, it's still there,
Again, genius. He didn't know that. I thought as you get older, you realise, I was just talking to him and he was saying these things. I thought, it's not bad.
I'm sure I did that with my kids.
I was listening.
Please tell us about Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg. How did we get from religion to Snoop Dogg?
I
don't know.
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, how did you meet? How did it come about?
So I ended up like having this great manager like back right after I had my first hit record. And it was I don't know how if you know the story, but like the way I sort of came back out into the world and decided I was going to record an album was I was going to do it for a charity, because I mean, I'm like this almost 40-year-old person. Nobody's heard of me. How am I going to get into the music business? So I aligned myself with a charity, and obviously I've been in the business. I was able to mentor some of the younger kids. And it's called Music for Youth, and it's a charity that like provides platforms for kids all over the country to like perform. But I had this idea. I was like, okay, back to the conversation we had earlier, that there is a difference between performing live on stage and recording in a studio. And so I'm like, is there a way that we can give some of these kids who are so super extraordinarily talented from around the country the opportunity to record an album? Because that is another level of creativity. So they were like, okay, we love this. How are we going to do this? So I actually went around the country to the school's proms, like literally, and I adjudicated some of the like events. And we literally chose some of the top choirs, strings, bassists, guitarists, and we bussed them into London over the course of a couple of days while I was recording this album of Motown tracks. And we were making it into like, I wanted to give it like an airy kind of cool vibe where it was like we were just going to rock out. I wanted everything on this album. I wanted from strings to choirs. I just wanted and I just wanted to make it rock and roll. Anyway, we did, and obviously the kids, these are classic songs, so even the kids recognize it. And I was trying to teach them that if you could take any song from any era and make it your own. And so we work with incredible producers to like, so the kids got a great experience out of that. Anyway, there was a DJ that was affiliated with Music for Youth, and they remixed one of the tracks on this record. And suddenly, like a month later, this record is sitting between Lady Gaga and the Scissor Sisters on the charts, on the commercial pop charts and the dance club charts, and I'm like, and the EDM charts. I'm like, okay, this is really strange. Like, this was not my intention. Like, I was literally here, and then like this door opened over there for me to like. So I get calls from producers saying, your vocal really suits the genre of music. Would you be interested in writing an album of dance tracks? And I'm like, now this is someone that grew up in the 80s. I grew up on 80s rock and synth pop and fitness music. So I love dance music, but like, the European dance music industry was not anything that I was familiar with, because like it wasn't huge in the States or in Canada when I was growing up. Like totally different EDM, house, that, like that. So I had to learn the tricks of the trade. And so I worked with incredible producers. At the time, that was just my vocal, and then I was writing. Then I had this crazy dream and about my late father visiting me in this dream, telling me that this is my time. This is the path that I should be on. This is my dream and I should follow my dream. And it was a very vivid dream. My dad had died a few years before. It was the first, and by the way, last time I've ever actually seen my dad, like in any form. I mean, right? And I'm not really like into that old ghost stuff, but a lot of things had happened during that day that were really freaky and creepy and scary and ghostly and
Like a send you a message.
so crazy. So anyway, so I ended up writing this song called "Live It Up," and it was literally, the lyrics are about living my dream, and I saw a ghost, and like I wrote the song about my dad. And my manager at the time said, you know, you've got a hit record now, because I had that song out with the charity that like was sitting in the charts now for 10 weeks. And so I'm, you know, and I really wanted to rap on this song. So I actually thought I'd visit some of these Music for Youth kids. They were up and coming, you know, rappers. This is a great experience for them. And he's like, no. I know, you know, a lot of the gangster rappers back in the day, because this manager was also like, you know, you can look him up. He's been everywhere and everywhere. He's like Forrest Gump of the music industry. And Steven said, I'm gonna get you with Snoop Dogg. He's gonna love this. I'm like, first of all, what the hell are you smoking? Like,
are you still in England at this point?
Yeah,
Okay.
this has all happened in England. I'm now here for like 23 years. So I mean, this has all happened in England. So Steven, who's from America but was living here as well, he's like, I'm going to introduce it to, he's going to love this. He's going to love the story. He's going to love you. You guys have kids the same age. You guys are going to love each other. I'm like, Steven, really? This is like you know, people say things all the time. I'm going to make you a star, you know, like, and you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. But meanwhile, so 5 days later, not even, I was on a plane to the States. I mean, he listened to the record, loved the story, loved the track, the whole thing happened so fast. And so it was crazy. And, you know, this was at the time where Snoop was literally doing everything. He was just getting on every bandwagon. Dance music, yep, tick that box. Stacey Jackson, fitness, yep, that's good. You know, and then he started putting his name to everything. Martha Stewart, yeah, let's do a show of, you know, cooking. So we caught him while he was at a place where he was, like, I guess, going commercial. I don't know.
Like yes man, isn't he? Yeah, I'm going to say yes to everything.
That's great. But it was my luck, right? Yeah. So anyway, and also, I mean, it's a good song. So 10 years later, the record was in a movie called Reboot Camp. I ended up doing a cameo performing the song, and it's now, it's as if there was like a discovery of Stacey Jackson music in South America. It's gone crazy over there. So I'll be doing some shows in South America this coming summers. It's really crazy how this song just keeps coming back for me. And so that's, I mean, a long story short, that's how I ended up with Snoop Dogg. And
the name of your book
is how a gangster rapper made me a better
and
mom. Why did he make me a better mom? Well, the message is actually that, you know,
was it he made you
a better
person,
a better person. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's because the message is really that if you're not going to do what you love to do, then there is no way you're going to be fully happy with who you are. Like, if you're not happy within yourself, if somebody said to me, you can never do anything creative, or you can, you know, like, I'd be like, I wouldn't be a whole person, you know, like, I love my children, but they're not they don't define me. I mean, I'm a mummy, but they don't define me. And what defines me is my creativity, my personality. You know, I have other things about me that like make me. And if I didn't have that, then I probably wouldn't be so happy. And not being happy with yourself, there is no way you could be a happy mother, or you could be a happy wife, or a happy sister, or a happy friend. Yeah. You have to be loving what you do. Like, I always tell people, like, if you're stuck in a rut and you're stuck in a job you really, really hate, find something else. Yeah. Life is too short to be doing crappy stuff.
I love that, because obviously, like, as a woman in my early 30s, I'm now thinking about that. I'm thinking about kids. I'm thinking about this. And I know a lot of women that are wanting to have kids, they're like, oh, well, I have to give up my career, or I haven't really started my life yet. I haven't really started what I want to do, but then I do want kids in the future. What comes first? And I love the fact that you've had the kids and, you're an amazing mum, and you were like, actually, I just want to go out there. I want to do what I want to do now. Was there a little bit of guilt behind that? Did you was there a bit of mum guilt,
the juggling of me. But I think this with every career and every working mother, no matter what they do. For me, it's a little bit more intense because I had to tour for weeks at a time. I'm walking around in hot pants and heels, and my kids are going through puberty or adolescence. And my kids are like, "Mom, you're so embarrassing." So because it wasn't like I was going, I wasn't going back to law school or something. I wasn't I didn't decide to make jewelry.
Did you have to ever actually, was there a defining moment where did you ever have a thing where you sat down with your husband and said, listen, did it come to that? Did it just happen?
No, there were lots of we had to work on this because my mother had to come in and fill some gaps because I still had young kids, so even though I had some of them were older already, but even my daughter, she was still 3 or 4 years old. She's only 16 now, right? So she was young. So my mother would come over and stay and fill the gaps if I was away for 2 weeks at a time. Okay. And that's as long as I was away. So it was really hard because to break it in the industry, the thing about the music business, as everyone knows, it's a maze. It's not, don't even get me started about how we chase revenues in this business. It's it's crazy. It's like you're chasing pennies. But you have to commit. You have to really commit. So how do you make money? You merch, you tour, but I couldn't fully do that. I couldn't be on the road for 6 months at a go. I had to, it was I'd go for 10 days, come back. I'd go for another 10 days, come back. So it was even harder for me to try to secure my place in the music industry because I was kind of I don't want to say held back by my family because that's not, but I was a little bit restricted because, I didn't want to leave my babies for
emotionally
so long.
Sort of
very.
Yeah.
You have to accept the reality and then just work with whatever your reality is at that time.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you have to have a conversation as well, being like, okay, guys, if I blow up and, because the family be in the public eye as well, did you have to have that conversation? How do you feel about it? If I'm in the public eye and I've got stuff written about me and you may be in the public eye as well.
Like the reality thing.
Yeah,
they just said, look,
was that
a
conversation you had to have as well?
Yep, we did. It was, sometimes they'll do a red carpet with me if I'm taking them to a movie premiere or something fun.
Oh, we did that for you.
Yeah.
But very, very low key stuff. Because you'll see them in some pictures with me, in the press, but very low key stuff. They don't want to have anything to do with it. That's why they were like, no. Even with the book, they're like, you better fictionalize it. Everything has to be fictionalized. So they're like, oh, Mom, you said 3 kids instead of 4, Then they're like, which one did you drop? I'm like, but
was there any husband? Did you use his name?
I killed the husband off.
But I killed my husband.
Honestly, obviously, any author who's going to write anything, no matter what, they have to. They're pulling on influences from their lives. They're pulling on experience from their lives. They're pulling on some memory from their life. Obviously, there's some, there's an Italian best friend in one of my best friends is Italian. So yeah, there's a little bit of her in there, but small teeny weeny, everything is fictionalized. Yeah. So anybody who reads the book, if they think that they actually see them in there, it's not. If I've offended anyone,
it's accidental.
It's totally accidental. No, but because you need a protagonist and an antagonist. There's always, but it was really fun to write, and so it'll be
Have you
ready.
got any thoughts about writing another book? Is it done
so it's meant to be a trilogy. So the first one is how a gangster rapper made me a better mom. The second one is when she goes and starts her fitness line of clothes and ends up in China. And so at the moment it's called A Vagina in China, but I think we might have to change that for various reasons.
I would read it.
I'm not sure that's okay. So that's the working title.
Isn't it vagina monologues?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but there is a reason for the title. And then the third one is I'm Too Young to Be This Old, which is when the character ends up in a movie and basically shit hits the fan and there's some pervy producers and the sort of Me Too stuff happens. And so it is a journey, and obviously loosely based on my experiences, and
It's like this morning. Have you watched This Morning?
I didn't watch this
Not This Morning. One with Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, the morning show.
The morning show. That's
Yeah. I was just talking about it the other day. Yeah.
It's kind of like that, Is that how you're thinking of the third one to go?
Well, a little bit. I mean, because there is some truth to it. I mean, I was, in real life, I was commissioned to be in a show, in a movie, and then I was commissioned to write the soundtrack for it, because it was a musical movie, and I never ended up getting off the ground, and there was, stuff that went on. So there's inspiration to be pulled on that. But remember, the character is fictional. So, but that's what I say with every author. They have they're gonna have their own life and their journey to
Well, you are your experience. You can only see your experiences.
And it's more authentic,
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, the book was option to become a TV series before I even wrote a word. So who knows, we'll see if I get to write the second and third book, and we'll see if it does well. What's nice about it is, so it's soft launch is Christmas. Then we're gonna have a big launch in London in February, and then it releases in April in the US. So I have to go to the US to do a big tour, and then the audiobook comes out, and I wrote an entire soundtrack for the book. So it's actually a musical book, but you'll only get the music when it's released on audio form. And then if you already own the physical book, there's a QR code at the back of the book that will have all the music in it.
Wow.
So
have you got your London location sorted for the release?
It's in Soho, I think.
Oh, nice.
Like literally around the corner.
There'll be lots of champagne and kisses on both cheeks.
Yeah, you want an invitation?
We're looking forward to our invitation.
Yeah, so I think,
I'll end up doing the security, just sticking on the door.
We were just looking at venues, actually. We're looking at venues again this week, so we'll narrow it down. My publisher gave me a list of things, but we want to keep it local. And because there's stuff happening, it needs to be the right venue. It has to have a good PA system. And so,
would you be singing at the event as well?
That will be on surprise.
So your inspiration of your music is very much, is it like the 80s like sort of dance tracks? And
funnily enough is yes.
Yeah.
It's, because like I said, with anything creative that I do, I'm pulling up on my own life, right? So even forget the book, even my music, I'm authentically, I'm an 80s girl, right? So all of the influences for me have to come from that sort of world. I lived through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. So when I'm writing a song, I have that in my head. That's how, so I love those sounds. So it's just funny that it's become so on trend, like the 80s with, Stranger Things. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. And then I landed this show. I did Stacey Jackson in the 80s for 3 seasons on Sky. And it was just a fluke and a half. I auditioned totally, I was like, I'm never going to get this job. First of all, I don't sound British. I thought maybe it was they're going to want the British kind of, version of the 80s. And I'm like, it wasn't that. I mean, obviously there was a British invasion in the 80s. We got a lot of 80s music, but still you guys had, British music, but you guys had a lot of, songs that didn't cross the pond. So I was learning along the way as well when I was hosting the show. And I got to, when I got the job, they were going to use a stock record for me to, introduce.
Flip side.
Yeah, I know. But I was a bit cheeky, and I was like, they're going to probably fire me for asking. But I went to the producers. I'm like, I wrote this song. It could work for the show. I don't know. If you don't like it, don't worry. We don't have to use it. We can use something else, an 80s song. And they're like, no, this is great. We love it. And so I gave them the song, and then we were getting on social media what song is this? Is this an 80s song? I never heard it before. And then it just grew. And I realized we never released the song. We gave it to the show to use, but it was never available on Spotify. It wasn't you couldn't even listen to it if you wanted to. So we ended up releasing it, and then 6 months later it became #1. So it's just random.
That's amazing. Did you give it to the show? Were they ownership of it?
No, I own it.
Yeah, but it was kind of look,
but we didn't even
lend it.
Yeah. I mean, when it plays, I get some royalty, I guess, from it. But I mean, there was no plan.
Is there anything new on the horizon? Is there anything you haven't done? There's something in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Okay. What's new?
Acting.
Acting. Yeah, I'm always dabble in the acting. No, The book is a big deal for me. That's like, another sort of feather in the cap, I guess.
Do you enjoy writing it, or was it just everything in your head?
I did, but thank God I had Ruth there. I honestly, she spent like months interviewing me and just really understanding, because we needed the character to have my voice, even though it wasn't me. So she has grown up in Canada, not the same town or anything, but it was important that the character had me in her. You know?
Is your husband British?
He's from New York.
How did you end up over here then? 25 years ago, you said?
Yeah, almost 24 years ago. Yeah.
What was the process?
Well, it was actually with his job, and we were only going to come for 2 years. It was one of those expat packages where they're like, "We'll send you here for 2 years, and you'll go back to New York." And I was working in television as a PR, and I just had a second baby, and we were moving with 2 little babies in tow, and so I was like, for sure, we're going to make this an adventure. We're going to travel. We'll do some city breaks. We'll go to Italy. We'll go to France. This is fabulous. We even kept our little easy pass, to go through the tolls in New York City. And we were like, we're going home. We're going back to New York. But we just loved it here. And
so thinking back, what was it you liked?
First of all, my career took off here as well. But that wasn't the reason why we liked it. I mean, we really felt like, first of all, it was very civilized. We're urban people, but I love culture and I love the art. I love the arts. I love that you can just go to a museum. I could walk. I live in the city. So you can go anywhere. I love walking around Soho. I love going to shows. I love going to the that's why I love New York, but this is a little bit more civilized. Yeah. It's got lots of green. The weather isn't that great, but today has been amazing, so I'm not going to complain.
But you can't enjoy it because you don't know what it's going to be.
You don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But
you've got an umbrella in your bag. You've got
suntan lotion in the other one.
And then I had another baby, and we just got comfortable, and then we're like, maybe we should sell our apartment in New York and stay here. So it wasn't planned. It was one step after another.
And have you got any other plans in terms of locations in the future, apart from your sort of wherever the career goes? Is this your place for the foreseeable?
We're gonna have our base here for sure, because we just moved, but my kids are also they grew up here. So even though they're all over the world, when they come, this is where they come home. So, and it's very rare that we're all together in London, though, because my kids who live in the States don't get any holiday. And the one in Stockholm, he comes, every sort of other week he can come down, which is great. So he'll sleep on the rollout couch, but when we're away as a family, it's usually we're on holiday somewhere. So we're never really in London together.
Did you ever move to Essex? Because I know that you've got, your recording studio, isn't it? And Hornchurch?
Yeah. Why, are you from there?
I'm from Essex.
Oh, that's hysterical. No,
when you said Hornchurch, I was like, oh my God, I used to live a couple of miles down from
That's hilarious. Yeah, so the studio where we filmed Stacey Jackson in the 80s was there. And I would go every month, I would go record 4 or 5 episodes at a go.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think of it? Because I always think
it was beautiful.
Because people who live in London, I asked them, have you ever been to Essex? No.
Anything outside of London, you might as well just talk another country.
But there is just so many beautiful places.
But there's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still a bit of a tourist. 23 years. I love it. It's I go out to East to do the show. Obviously, we're not recording it anymore, but I was religious about it every month. And then I have friends who live up in the north, and I have friends who live out west, and they're but they're not it's suburban. It's not I don't feel like I'm going to the country. I mean, but their houses are beautiful. They've got space.
Got so much more.
They've got.
I always say going to Essex, it's like a pin drop after 8 o'clock where I live, because it's a tiny little town and everyone's kind of retired. And that's why I love coming into the city, because I'm like, oh my God, people.
Oh no, it's crazy. I get all the parades in front of my house.
But it's quite nice going. And then I'm like, oh, I can go back to, sit in the garden and hear nothing.
Where did you say you moved to Mayfair or moved to Chelsea?
Yeah, no, I was living in Chelsea. Now we live in Westminster.
Is there many? Do you go out there? Is there coffee shops and things, or do you always have to go right into the?
No. I mean, we're I guess transplants. We just like to live around Hyde Park.
Right,
Hyde Park for us is the center of the universe, and we've lived literally from in a few houses. When we first moved over, we lived also in earshot of Hyde Park, and then we when we sold our house in New York, we moved to Chelsea, which was also like if I can't run in Hyde Park, it's too far.
Yeah.
I need to.
About 15 years ago, I was a delivery driver. I can't remember what I was delivering, but I'll never forget this. I went to I delivered a package, and it was in Chelsea, and I'd never been there before, so it felt like another world because I was from East London, and it was. I remember describing it as because I said what happened. It was like the size of a VCR box I had to deliver. And I opened it, the door, knocked on the door, and the door opened.
That was very 80s, by the way, a VCR box.
Yeah, no, because it was from the... So I was just trying to... Everyone would know what VCR... Well, I didn't know. I've got... Yeah. Anyway, so...
You have a child at the table.
I know what
I was thinking DVD, and I was like, no, that doesn't work. There's no physical media anymore.
Tapes.
Yeah, had this amount of storage.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I opened the guy opened the door, and it was a butler. And I didn't really know they were still existed. Like, I obviously realised that like this was a one house. I thought it was like a load of houses, just one thing. Anyway, so you opened it, and it was a butler, and he looked like a butler. And I thought, oh, and I went, oh, I got this package, right? And he went, no, you have to go around the other side. This, and I was like, right, I didn't understand. And I was like, okay. So I went around the other side. He opened the door and took the package off me around the other side. Wasn't even a different person. And I was like,
Oh, so there was a special and
yeah, you know they have servants. But you got to get somebody else. You can't then walk around and go, thank you.
Imagine he just runs really fast.
Well, maybe he wasn't allowed to walk through the property
because that's what
holding a box.
No, I thought if it was a fridge and I was on, something that was
like a dolly.
It was just a clean box. I thought, if I was a butler and I was not allowed to take any boxes through there, I would have to get somebody else to say, listen, do me a favour. I cannot go around. I cannot take the box. I cannot answer the...
I guarantee you, if the people were not in the house, he would have taken the box. He probably delivered it when the principals were in the house, and they might have
to have those rules in your with everything going on in the world.
That is the dumbest thing ever.
And I sort of went, that's the bloke. And I thought, and then I felt, am I embarrassed for him, or am I annoyed that...
Yeah, we're both embarrassed,
Oh, God, that's my only Chelsea story I've got anyway.
Yeah.
But you're enjoying living around there? You're fitting in? Okay.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. I mean...
Where do you tend to go out with everything going on? Where do you go out to? Do you have like a regular thing you go to theatre?
I love theatre.
Like
at least
what
once
type of things?
I actually went to go see the immersive Guys and Dolls show, which was spectacular.
Why is it immersive?
Everyone has to go. So it's immersive because it's not like you're just watching.
Is that part of the show?
Yes,
being
you're
immersive?
like the people who are watching the show are actually involved in it.
Oh,
so the stage moves, the characters move, and so it's brilliant. I mean, I just loved it. And I went to see the ABBA Voyage, like with the 3D hologram.
Thing. Yeah.
I really need to go see that.
That was so fun. I mean, this is I still am a bit of a tourist here. Every time I have the people visiting, I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Where are we going? Which show? I've seen Hamilton like 5 times. So I'm still I'm such a big... like a million times.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
The last time I took my brother, he had never seen it. He just laughed his butt off. But so this is what I like. I love London. Because if you could take advantage of it and do the shows and do the museums and do the, and we have our favorite local Italian restaurant and we belong to a few clubs as well. And
What's your favorite club to go to?
I would have said it used to be Annabelle's, like back in the day, but they've changed. I mean, Lulu's is fun,
Or the Box.
Yeah, the Box is cool. That's one of the potential places we're gonna have the party. So we'll see.
Oh my God, the Box. The
Box is amazing. We'll see. I mean, it's just being accessible. Is important to me. I just that's like the freedom. I'm very lucky that I could live in the city.
How did you end up in Liverpool? Did you go up there for that interview?
In Liverpool, that's funny because I do have a regular radio show there.
That's what I thought. That must have been a one-off. That can't be a regular thing.
No, it's regular. It's every Thursday. So when I was doing this show
in Liverpool, was it recorded remotely?
It's.
But you're not going up to Liverpool
not every month. No, not every day. Not every week.
You record them all.
We do it either remotely. So he patches me in. So I'll be on a.
You do go up there,
but I do go up there probably every other month, and I do the show live. But it's all I'm their resident '80s expert, basically on '80s music. So every week it's a different topic, a different theme.
So what's the show?
It's Roy Bassnett, and it's on Thursdays, Liverpool Live, every Thursday at 11.
How did that come about?
Yeah.
Did you know him?
He just contacted my manager and just said, would be great if you could do a regular spiel on the show because he loves 80s music. He's probably about my age, and we just hit it off. And I said, okay, we'll do it. Like I thought it was just one. We thought it was going to be just a one-off, but we just had such great banter, and we got on so well. And he's like, we're now thinking about doing regular podcasts, interviewing other people. We've brought on some 80s and 90s actors and musicians on the show, and it's super fun.
Yeah.
I just love it, and I have a lovely fan base up in Liverpool, so it's.
Do you ever say to him, well, maybe you want to pop down here every other month? We'll just share it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that'd be a great transition to go from what you're presenting and then going into podcasting and doing the 80s, because obviously you're in it and you know everything about it. So that's
Well, as I said to you before, I said, why don't people just do everything? Because you never know what's going to work. Because with all the will in the world, you never will know which one's going to click. Do you know what I mean? So why not do everything?
You're preaching to the choir, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, but I keep thinking, well, maybe it's the ADHD, but actually I think it's my superpower is the ADHD. It's the fact that because my husband is very like your partner, where it's like, just go from A to B, and you just take the car from A to B. You get from A to B, right? And I'm like, no. I take the car, I go to D, L, M to V, and then I'll get to B. Because you're right. Like, I don't know what's going to... And I have a lot of things on the burner.
It's hard to explain that to people who don't get it. Like, I sometimes... I'm quite jealous sometimes of my partner's brain, because he's very much like, well, I'll just get paid for what I do, and then I enjoy my money afterwards and this sort of stuff. And I'm just like, how do you have that kind of brain? How do you not explode? And he's just like, no, I like what I do.
It's weird. You can't. Are you sure you like what you do?
I can't relate at all.
He could easily just
You're happy, aren't you?
To anyone during the day and just do his job. And I'm like, oh my God, I go insane because my head's all over the place, and it's hard to explain that to someone. Yeah. And
but we obviously develop tools to manage that because like people who do have ADHD and haven't yet figured out how to manage the sort of, I call it the ping pong ball or the what's that game that everyone, oh my God, that's a brain freeze, the pinball where the ball's going bing, 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 bing. When you're a kid,
you still need the plastic to hold it in.
Otherwise it'll fly out. But I mean, that's the thing when you were younger, and I didn't know I had ADHD. I mean, I developed this sort of, I guess, tools to be able to handle it. So I have my own way of organizing things. My husband calls it organized chaos, but it is. 100%. I have no choice. I have to organize them. He's like, why do you have like 6,000 apps open? I'm like, because I'm in the middle of doing something and the doorbell rings, or my kid stops me I'm like, but if I keep the page open, because like 3 hours later I'll go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I was ordering, makeup remover from Boots, and it's there, right?
If I go onto YouTube as well, that's it. I'm in a YouTube.
You're in the rabbit hole.
I'm in the YouTube hole. And I've got something open. I was actually on New Look. I was going to buy a load of clothes, but now I'm on YouTube. Oh no, I was actually on Daily Mail. I was actually looking up an article.
Oh my God, but you're like me.
That's literally what. And then I'm reading the comments in the Daily Mail. Now I'm on YouTube reading those comments.
Well, Ricky Gervais said, we saw Ricky Gervais earlier, and he said it's hard to explain to people that I find it easier to do more things than one. Orson Welles.
Interesting.
I mean, they didn't know back then, because he would always have things on that were just nothing was getting done because he was doing everything. And he said, people like me, he said, you have to, I don't know if he's talking about creatives, but he said, I have to have too many things going to stop me doing nothing. He said, I even doing everything. Oh, because I'll do nothing otherwise. I have to do everything. It's weird.
That's what I say about myself. I'm like, I'm everything and nothing at the same time. Because if I have to be on a roller coaster. I have to be busy. If I'm not, then I'm not.
Maybe it's like the brain's going faster than the world.
Yeah, I'll sit in bed and I'll do nothing. If I'm not doing a load of things at the same time, and I'm not keeping myself.
Okay, but when you say nothing,
well,
is it really nothing? Like, are you playing a game on your phone? Are you reading a book? Are you watching it Netflix? Are you doing
stimulating
something?
my brain?
Like nothing. Yeah. What does nothing mean? Like, I can't even get a massage without watching TV. So my head's in the hole, okay? And I'll get like a massage. The
You're not
massage
watching
therapist,
TV during the massage.
hand on heart, I am.
Really?
Yeah, because my
I thought
brain,
you'd just be writing a script underneath it.
my brain cannot. So I'll be or I'll be even like on my emails.
Mm-hmm. See, I can't
It's
do that.
crazy.
When I'm massaging, when I'm massaging. No, that's another.
You want to relax.
That's something else I do. Yeah, I want to relax, but I'm also daydreaming. I'm also thinking about what I'm going to do next, what's going to come up afterwards, what I'm going to do now, and that allows my brain to chill. And I think, but the one thing I love to do that completely gets my brain out is, oh God, this is amazing. I literally sit in the garden or watch my cat play. That's
If I can't stimulate myself, dance for me, dance.
That's nice.
That's literally what I have to do. Or I'll draw, because I'm a drawer. I illustrate as well. So I'll literally, but I'll have to have music in, because otherwise I will literally get distracted.
In case you know, you've already said you've done 3 things. You're watching your cat, you're doing your drawing, and you're listening to music at the same time.
These are different times. But like, there's another thing, I have to be drawing, but then I have to be listening at something at the same time, because otherwise something will distract me.
Do you have a lot of pets?
I've got one. I've got one cat.
One cat.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you know they found something else about cats? You know how we just learn things? We think we know stuff, and then as we go on, we figure out, oh, we thought this was that, but it's that. You know, when they talk about people that are allergic to pets, and they think like the hair, like I'm allergic to cats.
I am allergic to cats.
Oh, sorry.
They're saying
That's okay. My throat closed, but it's fine. We're not smooching.
They're saying it's not the hair. They've now realised it's the saliva in the cat, but the cat licks the hairs.
Oh.
So you're actually allergic to the cat's saliva, and now they're looking into dogs. Is it the same for we are actually allergic to the thing inside their mouth?
Yeah,
but they're licking the hair.
I was actually when I was really young, I grew out of it now, but I was allergic to dust mites' feces.
Yeah,
I would literally be up scratching, but it wasn't the dust. Yeah, it was the dust mites' feces, and I was like, really?
I knew a guy. Get this right. So I did some menial work on the way up, right, and I had weird jobs. I was changing jobs like 3 times a year, and I worked in removals. And there was a guy there, and it was a lower end removals where you had half the people. There was a guy there I met. He had eczema everywhere, about 27, 28, constantly scratching with 2 hands. And I'm embarrassed now, because I said, when I saw him, I said, "You all right?" I thought it was just a temporary thing. Like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Gave him some stupid advice. I didn't realise he'd had it since a kid. He had the second worst in England of eczema, like full body eczema, 2 hands since a child. He'd had to be hospitalised a lot of times. And I said, what sets it off? It said like things like sweat and dust in removals when you're sweating and you're moving dust. Both hands, right? So get this.
He should not be in that vocation.
No. I mean, he couldn't read. It was one of them jobs. Removals is a weird thing. It's when you can't do anything else. There's certain jobs you just fall down, you sort of filter down, and then you end up in that job because you don't need to learn how to read. And it's a horrible job. Nobody wants to do it. People quit immediately after 15 minutes. Or
Well,
he was scratching with 2 hands. I never saw him for more than a 15-second period where his hands didn't start going again for a year. And then so I left, and then I saw him about a year and a half later. I was driving near the place, and I saw him. I said, "Oh, do you want a lift?" And I took him down there. I said, "How are you doing?" Like, there's 2 hands everywhere. And he said, "Oh, I had to go to the hospital the other day." He said he got so bad I couldn't.
Where do you live?
I just remember him whenever anything else about work or anything like that. He's like one of 5 people I think of.
That's like when I said, like, change your life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually really causing harm.
It was those jobs where it was the jobs that caught everybody at the bottom. It was people that come out of jail, couldn't get a job because it was jobs nobody wanted to do, and you didn't have to have any. You just turned up because they would just say hire you on the spot because nobody wanted to do those jobs.
Well, that eczema is an issue, and that's why I started Stay Fit. Like, you know, the whole sort of after you sweat and then it gets trapped in. Well, you wouldn't relate, but you were relate. It gets trapped in the wrong places, and so I designed this based on that because I suffered from eczema. It's really horrible, and so I keep it at bay. But the thing about eczema, and this is the thing, you can't just try to fix it on the top.
Oh no, it's inside.
It's really inside. So like people put the cream on and they're like, oh, it's better, you know? So then they stop the medicine. But you actually have to use the prescription for 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever it is, like religiously, because it needs to go into your skin under the layer where the actual causes.
Epidermis.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
change your like food, your diet.
Yeah, you can, or what you use to wash your clothes or to bathe, or like
It's a
anything that
reaction.
touches-
It's the end of the road. It's the end to say there's
It's
a problem.
all internal, whatever comes out of your body and you see. You're
We
like,
don't know
well,
what we're putting into our system, even in the air, between the air and the water, and we're going to catch up eventually and realize, do you remember when they used to do that, and they used to wonder why that used to happen? But I think everything's simple. That's the main secret of everything. Is simple, like the food. Just drink a lot of water. Just if things fixed themselves for a long time.
Just look after yourself.
Yeah.
But going back to your music, I know we've got
We've got to finish soon. So go on. What have you got?
Yeah. I was just saying, are you working on anything else? Because I know you brought out, but Soldier was your
last
one. Yeah.
So the album is also called Superwoman, and it's coming out the beginning of 1923, 2024, the beginning of 2024. So we are going to release another single. It'll be called also Superwoman.
Love that.
And that'll come out kind of in line with the launch of the book.
Yeah.
So So that,
And
the
you
whole album
will not
drop.
be playing, be singing at the
Maybe
the launch.
at the book launch, we'll play.
Just to close off, is there anybody if I said to you, who comes to your mind if I said people you admire, from young, old, anything, who comes to your head? Doesn't have to be anyone specific, family, somebody in the media, books you read.
Yeah. Well, obviously my husband.
Yeah.
I think he's
Well, we
like,
got that one out of the way.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we've
No,
done that.
even though I killed him off the book.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he's my biggest cheerleader. But I would say, like, I have a 94-year-old aunt
Yeah.
who is a sculptress, and in her 40s decided to go back to do being something creative. And now she's like quite famous. She's 94 now, a sculptress, and she had like 3 kids in tow, and she would like climb up these big, marble plinths and like chisel away, and unbelievable. Up until like 10 years ago, she was still chiseling away. So yeah, she's incredible, and she's a big inspiration. My mom also. I think like women who, like my mother, she went back to school to become a sex ed teacher, and so like she didn't stop her life because of us. Like, I think the message for anyone, like especially women, is that like, just because we pop out these babies doesn't mean that that's it for us. Like that's our end all, being a mom. And by the way, that's actually okay too if that's really what you want to do, and focus on your kids and just be there 24/7. That would, like I said, that wasn't my only defining piece of who I am.
You also have to remember that a guy I knew women aren't a minority, but what I mean in terms of things have changed now. And he's a black guy, and he said, and I don't know if it works for women. He said, I think about the people that fought for me to be able to do stuff, so I do stuff. And I don't know if it works for women still, but you think make the most of the people that did things before you that never got to see the echoes of what they did.
Oh, my mom for sure, and my aunt.
And also age. I was saying this to somebody the other day. You really have to get your head around the fact that when you say 30 or 40, you're still carrying what you thought a 40-year-old is growing up. So it's not. It's actually 20 years younger than you think. So 40, really, you think when you was 15 and you saw a 40-year-old, you go, well, that's sort of...
They were
old.
But remember, it's health, everything.
Yeah.
It's not what you think.
Age is just a number.
But I mean, it literally isn't what you thought it was.
No.
It's much. You look at like Sylvester Stallone at 80.
Madonna.
But
Any of the Rolling
After
Stones.
50, you're dead.
Yeah.
80, and you're jumping around as a stuntman. You go, but you really have to go, no, it's your brain's still lying to you. 30's like a kid. That's
I'm
when it
just like,
starts.
I feel like I'm 21.
I said nobody should do anything until you're 30. No marriage. Don't get stuck in a career up path. Don't start educating yourself at 30.
That's how I feel. Like going into my 30s, I feel like I'm on this personal development. I want to learn things more now. You know, I want to. Back when I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like there was the pressure of going into university. You need to study. You need to think about what you're going to do for life, your career.
Yeah.
And now at 30, I'm just like, but actually, I'm interested in learning this. I'm interested in learning this. I mean, maybe it's my ADHD, but but it's just like, I feel like, as you said, it's never too late to start.
Yeah.
If you want to do it now, do it now.
No, because life is too short.
Yeah.
And we are younger, older. Like we have more energy, like we know more, we have access to healthier foods, lifestyle could change. You've
got to account for an extra 20 years now on the end.
Yeah.
You've got more,
We know more. We're living longer. So which is terrific. And so let's use the experience on this earth towards us getting even better for ourselves. Nobody else. Just to take you and be like, how am I going to be my best you, my best me? And that's the goal, is to take, you're the only one on this journey, right?
I know a psychologist I spoke to, a consultant psychologist, he was talking about kids. He said, talking about like you being happy and you doing your thing. He said, your kids are actually, I didn't even give a percentage, I can't remember what it was. He said, they're living their life through your eyes. So how you look at the world is actually affecting how they look at the world. Do you make goals and
until
things?
they move away and they find another girl?
Well, then they do it through pop stars and music, replace you for a while.
Exactly. I mean, yes, for a while, but then they
20 years later, they come back to...
The core things. The core things.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
Right, well, there you go.
Where can people find you?
Find me. I'm everywhere.
Everywhere.
So StaceyJackson.com, or all my social media is Stayrox, STAEROX. So yeah, I'm actually pretty I'm good with social media, considering like I'm an old lady. But yeah, no, I enjoy it, and I'm engaged with. I'm mature. Experienced lady. I enjoy being on it because I really do engage. I have some pretty great fans, like legit, who like my music, and they're just it's and I get it. They've helped me build, I couldn't do this without the cheerleading section of my fans. So
you're on you just started the journey. It's just kicking in now. It's all going. It's all ready to go.
Till I drop dead, but it's all good. No, I'm enjoying it. I'm still at the beginning of my journey, because now I'm at the beginning of the author journey.
Yeah.
We'll see where this goes, and hopefully the book does well. And that's all that matters for me right now, with the book, the music. And then maybe my fitness line of clothes will come back out again. I don't know. When I'm like an oven or a stove top where I have things simmering. And one thing's bubbling now. I've got to pay attention to that before, I overcook the pasta.
What are you doing today? What you got up to today?
I'm actually going to go out for pizza. My friend's son is visiting from LA. So I'm going to take him for lunch around here.
Is there any talk of marriage? Any of the kids? Are they that age?
Maybe.
Maybe
I don't want to jinx it, because I really like the girls. So maybe.
Well, listen, thank you very much.
No, it was a pleasure.
Actually, I should say thank you for Will. Will was not feeling well at all yesterday. And he said, do you know what? I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to come in. At the last minute, he said, no, I'm going to come in. So
you're very sweet.
There you go. Will. He's travelled all the way in from the Renaissance period.
Yes, I can tell with the gorgeous hair. I love it.
All right, thanks. So thank you, Will, and thank you, Stacey.
Nice to meet you. Thanks. Nice to meet you guys.
Here's your story. Let's begin. The water's fine. Come on, dive in. The future's here. It's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than